someone wrote and they said, Kat talks a lot about the holiness of God and that he doesn't abide sin. And you've been very, by listening to you, I've learned more about how to walk on the straight and narrow than probably anybody that I've listened to, because you got a good mixture of, you better obey God because it works better for you. But this person said, but can Kat talk more about the love and kindness of the Father? And he just kind of did. What else can you say about how fatherly or how loving? Because when you go up, you're still, all these years that you visit, you're usually a child when you go visit, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm like 8 years old. It's still me. Now, I don't go in my physical body. I'm caught up in my spirit, but it's still me in my spiritual body. But I look 8 years old. I know what I look like. I have little pigtails.
Wow.
And I feel like a little child when I'm there. I'm so excited to see him. So I know people said, I've stood before the throne of God, and the fear was so great, my head hurt. I was screaming. I said, you must not know him as your father then. Because that's how he wants us to look at him. We have to be like little children. You know why? Because we came from him. We lived in him. Before the earth was ever made, that's where we were. We were in him. And that's the way I look at him. So I'm so excited. I never say to them, where are you taking me? Can I go here? What about this place? That's not in me. As a little child, let me tell you, I know I have an 8-year-old grandchild. They can't wait to go somewhere, and all they talk about is how much fun they're going to have, and then they can't stop talking about when they get back. There was a reason why he took me as a child. So I saw from that perspective, there was nothing in heaven that's threatening. But you don't have any like regrets if you're old or whatever. You don't think about that. You're so happy to be with him, and he will treat you like a father. He'll spend special time, alone time just with you, and he'll show you when you were a little spiritual child, laying in his hand, and he would share secrets and mysteries with you while you were in heaven before you ever came to earth.
Really?
And it makes that bond even stronger with you. He'll talk about the plans he made for you as you were sitting there listening to him talking, or he would dance with you. And I always like to say this, give this visual to people all the time. Here's the Father, right? He can be bigger than this earth if he wants to be, as big as he wants to. He's amazing, sitting on the throne in the throne room, high and lifted up. Here's the living creature standing, facing him, all four from, the front and the back. And they're declaring his holiness, and the power is coming from him. Lightning bolts shooting out of him, the waves of the rainbow going in and out because it's alive. And he's got fire in his eyes. But when I go up there, I run up there to see him. I can't wait to be with him because I see him as my father, and that's how he feels about everybody. And so let me tell you, he's got a lot of fun things planned for you. But I have only one time that I can really recall that I was actually caught up to heaven by Jesus himself, and I wasn't a child. I looked timeless, and I know what it's going to look like to be timeless. All you women are going to love it. Your men are going to love it because you'll always look great in your glorified body. When we get our bodies back in their glorified, you're going to look amazing because that's God's plan. But Jesus caught me up. He took me way up on a high mountain. And then we were like right on the edge. It was on the edge, and I had no fear to look down. He was standing over here to the side of me, and we were both looking at the Valley of the Falls. That is a beautiful place in heaven. These 200-foot waterfalls that people live their mansions right on the edge in this big gemstone mansion that rotates. So no matter where you walk in your home, you can see this beautiful valley of these waterfalls, these massive flowers, like probably 50 feet high, growing in this valley. And everybody gets to dive off their diving board into these waterfalls. And so it's just amazing because the mist was rising out of this water that was still part of the river of life, and rainbows were shooting out of this, and I could just stand there, and the sky was turning different colors because of the mist rising with the rainbow colors in it. And all I could say was, I am speechless. I am just speechless. This is so beautiful and amazing. And I heard him say these words. I was just thinking the same thing.
Really?
But when I turned, he was looking at me when he said that. Wow. He wasn't looking at what he created in heaven. And he said, I want you to tell everyone there that I love them all that much, There's so much more priceless to me than all the beauty of heaven. All the stuff is there. I've never felt the same way about the Lord since then. That he thinks of you constantly. His thoughts are good for you. He wants you to come back to him if you've wandered away. If you think he doesn't care in these days, you need to know him more, because his passion, the passion he had and the love for you, the spiritual love he has is nothing, okay? The physical love in this world has nothing, can't even come close to the spiritual love he has for all of us.
It's amazing. Kat, when you're going up there and you're always an 8-year-old except that one experience, are you aware that when you go at the time that you'll go back to your older self now, or are you so caught up in the moment that you're only a child and that's it? Or do you think when you're up there as an 8-year-old, I can't wait to go back and tell people what I saw? How is that?
I'm always thinking, I can't wait to go back and share. That's what I'm thinking. I wasn't taken there just for myself. I'm always taken so that his people will know what he's like, what the Father's like, what Holy Spirit's like, what heaven, their home that's waiting on them. What is that like living there? And that's one of the reasons they take me, so people will know the truth and not what some people think it is or what they assume it is. Some people think all you're going to do is worship and it's going to be boring. There's not one boring ounce of atmosphere in all of heaven. And so I'm taken as a child so I can never forget the excitement and the joy. And children, when they come back from a fun place, they can't help but share. Even if people don't want to hear it, they're going to tell you about it anyway. And I have become more childlike myself than I ever was when I was a child. I was a pretty serious child myself. And I had a lot of responsibility. It was really serious, and it was always about making sure everybody's okay. They have the things that they need, and make sure everybody's in line. They didn't get left at the beach. They didn't get left at the pew at church. And so I was always real busy. But my mom would even say I was serious. I was a serious child, but not when I'm in heaven.
That's
I'm
awesome.
so filled with life and joy, and you carry that life with you. And I tell people, you can't be mean. You can't say harsh things or think of people that God doesn't love them. If you've ever been there and you've been around him, you carry that love he has for people on the inside of you. So I stay mostly like a child most of the time.
That's really, other than my own wedding, of course, 43 years ago, that was a wonderful romantic time and honeymoon. So other than that time, the most magical, if I could use that word, times are my trips to Disneyland as a little boy, 8 to 10, or Christmas mornings or Christmas Eves. But other than those young little child times, it was difficult to experience that magical feeling. And so what I'm hearing you say is heaven is like that all the time.
Yes, it is.
It doesn't get old. It doesn't like I've seen it, been there, done that.
No, never, because I'm always seeing new things. In the 20 years I've been taken, I always see new things. God is always creating. He and his son are creating new places in heaven all the time, because new people come home. And so they're always making new, just amazing. There's layers in heaven, in the atmosphere of heaven, even outside in that, I call it the celestial realm of heaven, what we would call the outside, the space you see outside, like the sky and stuff. I call that celestial realm, because even up in there, there's things to do and things to see. You never could get bored, number one. I think I laugh when I hear people say it'll be so bored in heaven. I went, you definitely haven't been there. And if he says you must be like a little child, he's not going to leave that out. But even as a child, if you saw splendor and wonder, it wouldn't want to make you run away. Some people are so in awe of the power of God himself. They're like, wow, I don't know if I can look up. Can I even look up? And yet as a father, he would call to you, even as a child, to run to his arms and come and see him, even with him sinning in all the splendor and the wonder and the power. I can't ever forget the power I felt coming from him, from Holy Spirit. But when all three of them are there, it is, I call it mystical, by the way, not magical. The most mystical, which that word, a mystic, is someone who's seen God the Father face to face. Mystic doesn't belong to the New Age movement. They'd like to take it. They can't have it. Even in the old Hebrew writings, it talks about the mystics of God. So a mystic is someone who's seen the Father face to face.
Wow.
And let me, you never ever, and I'm just trying to prepare you, all this trying to prepare you for the day when you move to heaven. And people go, how could they forget me on the earth? Don't they care about? They can't wait for you to get there. They can't wait for you to see the beauty and the wonder. But there's so much fun and so much adventure that we never really thought growing up that would be there. I mean, it says in that heaven is a city, it's a country, and the earth is a shadow of what is there. This is only a shadow. So even the beauty and the splendor you see here, it can't even compare to like 1 square foot of heaven.
Wow. Kat, when you've gone, have you ever gotten, I don't think I've ever asked this question. When you've gone here many, many times, or have you ever gotten to sit down with one of your relatives and talk, or is that really kind of not allowed right now? Do you
That's
get to
not allowed.
It's not allowed. Okay.
No, because I have never seen my mansion, not ever. None of it at all. So I've never seen my mansion. I've never seen my crowns. I've never seen my wardrobe room that's in my mansion. I kind of think I know where it is, probably by the Crystal Sea, maybe another in the Mountain of Spices, or you've heard me say this before, Steve, that you have a place. It doesn't say you get one place. It doesn't say you get one house. It says, my Father has gone to prepare a place for you. And in that place, in heaven, whether it's by the Crystal Sea, the Mountain of Spices, or the Valley of the Falls, or if it's in the rainforest they have there, or all these beautiful places, there's always going to be doors he puts on your property.
I love
and when
that.
you walk through that door on your property, it takes you to another space that you get to enjoy that is yours somewhere else in heaven. And so just your mind, I think I understand why some people have to go to the welcome center in heaven because they're so undone about what they're experiencing, just stepping out of the transport they came in and being engulfed in absolute life, joy, happiness, and the presence. You're so undone. Some people have to say, we're going to take you to the welcome center and let you know this really is heaven. It's all going to be okay.